So how you're going to be, making your building in a way that you enjoy the views from each part. Like even if you're in your hotel room, you can actually see whole range of Himalayas from there.
So because you said you do mixed projects, which means you're also doing residences and hospitality.
Yeah.
Which is easier?
So when you're building up for a house for somebody, it's a personal and it's so many people, the family is involved in that. So there are so many people have their own viewpoints to discuss with you. So versus if you're doing a hotel or a hospitality project or a resort or whatever, there there are not so many people involved in that which is directly have their influence or they trying to you have to uh, treat the spaces.
Hello and welcome. My name is Komal Jha. Welcome to yet another segment of Unfiltered Dialogue. Today we are with somebody from whom we can learn planning to presence, who has been in Delhi from the last 3 decades, has worked on projects which are more or less weekend homes, hospitality, and the residential. Started his career from Delhi with practicing with somebody for 2 years, and then started his own firm in 1994. Hi Sumitji, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Very well.
Good.
What is the journey of Atrium Design Studio like?
Well, I graduated from Ahmedabad, set Ahmedabad, and then we started this practice after working in some offices in 1994. And since then, we've been working on different variety of work, which are, residential to commercial to hospitality, educational buildings to all mixed variety of work, which we've been doing in past so many years, and it's been a good journey. It's progressing the time we started, and now what we see, a lot of projects which we have been able to achieve during these so many years, and it's been great. Yeah.
I would want to speak about tourism nowadays. A lot of people have started traveling. What do you think? How important is the role of an architect when somebody is traveling in a city?
Yeah. Well, it's very important because it's when you're building up any hotel or a resort, all those, and which place you're building up. So that also is very important. And when the person is visiting that place, it's also important to understand why he's visiting. I mean, there are kind of things uh, for the city, for kind of a local flavor of that place, to see the scenery, to see all other sort of things. But also, it's important for the person where he's going to be staying. It also needs to be comfortable and needs to gel with the environment. The building which is going to be in what context it's going to be. So that's all. Those things are very important, and whatever we try to do is keeping in mind, for all these people who are visiting such places, and
More than 30 years, almost 3 decades. I'm sure it must be boring sometimes. What makes you fall in love with your profession again and again?
well, it's never a boring because you, I mean, as a person, I always had this flair for design. And from the childhood, that I said that, okay, I want to go into this particular field and I want to do, excel in this particular field and want to do a good work. So that was the kind of a thing which started off, and uh, as so you don't get bored from the projects. So every project is a new challenge which comes at. You have different locations, the climate zones are different, the context is different. So all those things are different, and so there is always a challenge in doing better and better and better in whatever the buildings which you are building up. So that's the never a kind of a boring thing which I feel in this.
What are the three things somebody should take care of while building a hospitality project?
Well, the most important aspect is, of course, the context where you're building up, because the building also has to gel with the context, the art and craft, the kind of the setting, in what setting it is going to be, whether it's a jungle setting, whether it's a hilly terrain. So all those things are very important while building up any resort or any hospitality buildings. The the surrounding, the nature, the kind of views which you're going to get are also equally important. So how you're going to be, making your building in a way that you enjoy the views from each part. Like even if you're in your bedroom, on your in your hotel room, you can actually see whole range of Himalayas from there, while even lying down from the bed is very important. The early sunrise, from the early sunrise rays um, on the hills or on the surrounding areas, which you can actually enjoy and see, is very important. The context, the nature, everything is very important in a way. So the comfort uh, you're going to provide to the visitor who would be visiting you is also very important. So how comfortable, how welcoming you make your building, so that he falls or she falls in love with that building. So that is also very important.
How difficult is so when you, because you also, you said you do mixed projects, which means you're also doing residences and hospitality.
Yeah.
Which is easier? Because I'm sure it must be difficult to build some thing for somebody, for example, a house. But when you build a hospitality project, you have to put your emotions, because usually people do not notice those detailings which are done. The context has to be put so that people observe it unconsciously, subconsciously, and of course when they're trying to look at it. So what is the difference between designing a residential project and a hospitality project?
Okay, so the most important part here is when you're building up for a house for somebody, it's a personal, and it's so many people, the family is involved in that. So there are so many people have their own viewpoints to discuss with you. So versus if you're doing a kind of a hotel or a hospitality project or a resort or whatever, there there are not so many people involved in that, which is directly have their influence, or they trying to you have to uh, treat the spaces according to what you do in a house. It's all personal spaces. Here it's like public, and even you have the public spaces, you have all those areas which are there. So that's the major difference, that what you see in a private residence or in a resort. So the many people are involved in, especially in the house, and it's more tough because,
Is it?
yeah, it is more tougher than building a resort or a house, or a resort, because obviously there are so many peoples are involved, and you need to satisfy all of them, their aspirations. They have certain aspirations, which they give you, and you have to keep those things also into the mind. And whereas in a resort or in a this thing is like more of a kind of a public zone where
So it's easier.
yes, it's much easier to do those kind of buildings, definitely. And in houses, it's more intense. Even sometimes people like to go in very much in detail, a lot of times. So which there even in hotels, resorts, you go in very much detail, but you do it yourself, and you do it in a way that you have thought of, and it creates impact on the building. Though, I mean, it happens in both the cases, but yeah, in residences it's more intense, I would say, the kind of things.
I think luxury is a very common word nowadays. Everybody says that we're doing luxury projects, but what is actually luxury for us when we design?
Well, I would say the definition of luxury is, it's very vast. I mean, it's could mean a difference. A lot of, like, to me, the meaning of luxury is different than the meaning of luxury to you. So similar way, I mean, it's very different. Uh, to me, using a very simple materials could be luxury to me, but using an Italian marble or a kind of a shiny surfaces or a kind of materials which are more expensive to some people is more a kind of a thing. They see it in a way that it's more expensive, so it's more luxury, to them. So that's a little, the definition is,
So I have a difficult question for you
yeah,
now,
yeah.
which you have to answer as an architect.
Hmm.
Most of the times, when a middle class thinks of building a house, we have a certain budget in our mind. Maybe say 2 CR is my budget, and the area is we have 300 square yards where we have to build. I want to go with the type. But why sometimes, not necessarily every time, but why sometimes the architects they insist on putting Italian marble or they insist on putting a certain material? Is it only for designing? Is it that they think luxury is only my?
Yeah, so there are kind of a cost is also associated with the luxury. So when you say that I'm buying a wallet of 1 lakh rupees, that's gives you a feel of that, okay, it's a luxury, it's I'm buying, paying a heavy price to that. So similarly, people have their kind of a mindset where they think in terms of this money as a kind of a thing, like Italian marble. It's been there in the market for very long, and it used to feel that, okay, if you buy a Italian marble or a stone, it's expensive. So a lot of times people think that, yeah, if I put a Italian marble, it's a luxury to them. Though the meaning of the luxury is could be different by even using a simple materials or the kind of materials which you choose, even the tiles could give you
Absolutely.
a very good result and in a very different way. So that's a kind of mindset which people have, and they like to go in for those kind of things in this.
What are the 3 things we should keep in mind when we are building a budget friendly house?
Well, see, anything can be done in a kind of a budget. If one is looking at, it's the only thing you need to be consciously selecting the kind of materials, the kind of things within that budget. So one ways to look at is you do in a reverse way that, okay, if I have so much budget, then obviously I can buy certain things which can fit into my budget. But it does not mean that those things will not give you an impact. It can give you an impact, overall interior or in architecture also, by using a very simple materials, by using kind of materials which are not so expensive. So it can still give you and you can still do a certain project in budget, what I feel.
Now, because the rainy season is upcoming, how important do you think is waterproofing?
Well, waterproofing is very important aspect because you face challenge in this in all the houses or all the buildings which you do. If it's not done well, if the waterproofing is not done well, you could have seepages, you could have the damp walls. So that's very important aspect you need to consider in terms of using waterproofing materials and good waterproofing materials and done in a proper way. That is also very important. If it's not done well, you could have a recurring problem of seepages or for other sort of things which you can face,
So, do
even
you
later
think
on.
initially this is an architect's responsibility to inform the client that the waterproofing has to be done in the correct manner? Otherwise,
Yes.
we'll have to face the consequences.
Yes, so obviously, I mean, even the clients these days are also
They're smart.
know smart, and they know that okay, yeah, there's a kind of a materials they are, even they have a kind of a awareness about the materials, certain materials which are there. They are seeing all these social media into certain kind of materials which are being marketed. So people are aware of these such things, and as an architect, obviously you keep in mind, that's a very important aspect. So you keep it in mind that there are certain stages after which the waterproofing needs to be done, and then subsequently the other things happens. So that's a kind of things which are in a process that you follow that thing, and inspect and check those things, if it's done well, the kind of materials, the kind of things. It depends on the kind of application, the kind of where it's going to be implemented.
Understood. Sumit, looking at the kind of projects you are doing and in the cities you are doing, like Patna, Uttarakhand, you have done, you have been working from the last 30 years, Jim Corbett, you have worked in. What scope do you see in smaller cities now?
Well, I see.
And is it better than metropolitan
Oh,
cities?
yes, of course. I mean, these days there is more construction which is happening in smaller cities, these days, because the cities are growing at a very fast pace. And uh, everyone is now aware of, they want to design good buildings, that they want to have good houses. So all these places are, having a lot of these construction activities which are happening in these smaller cities, even more than what metro cities are doing. So it has a lot of potential and a lot of things which are happening in the smaller cities. So we get a lot of inquiries from the even from the smaller cities, where they want to upgrade their things, or they want to build a new house or a hotel or a resort or all these school, different type of building types which are there. So all these cities are growing up very fast.
How important is a regional touch to a project?
Well, regional touch is very important because I feel that the context where you're building up is very important. And I can't make the house, say, take the house and put it over there in that hill, in if I'm doing a project in the hills. So one need to understand the context where you doing the building, and it's very important. And it's also important to understand the climate. It's also important to understand all those local, the art and crafts of that place, so that you can implement those sort of things. And then it says that I belong to this place. I mean, when you look at the building or the house, it says that yes, I belong to this place. So it has a certain kind of a materials, the kind of local flavor which you put in, so that the overall, when it comes finish, building finishes, it says that yes, it has a certain touch of that place. So it's very important aspect, I would say.
Okay. What are the 5 materials loved by Atrium Design Studio?
5 materials, difficult question again. Well, we love very earthy kind of materials which are very important for us, uh, like exposed brickwork, the
Love
exposed
that.
concrete work, using a kota stone, which is a very simple yellow kota, or green or gray kota. So again, kind of a materials which is terracotta, related, which are connected with that. And again, yes, the kind of materials which we try to use, like in stones, also even rats in stone, or a very simpler kind of a things which we try to use and create with that some kind of impact in overall way. So that's very important for us. So
Understood. My last question to you is, when you formed Atrium Design Studio, did you have a clarity of what you're going to do? As you're sitting 30 years later, what do you think, how far the journey has been?
well, it's been with the God grace. I mean, it's been a very nice journey where we've been able to do many projects which we have done, and over a period of time. And
But how did you figure out that maybe hospitality is one thing I like?
well, it's does not happen like that. I mean, you would like to do good work, so that's the whole idea of the practices. Whatever you're trying to do, you put in your 100% on that project. So that's very important aspect. You have to be truthful to the things which you're going to do. So since when you have this kind of attitude that okay, you whatever the stuff which you are going to do would be more creative, more you would be doing it very well in a more creative manner. So then later on, what you get, you start with maybe a house, and later on what you see that you get an inquiry where he wants to do a hotel project, or different kind of things which comes into during the course of your journey. And then slowly you understand that okay, what kind of stuff goes into in making that a different building type. And that's how you further proceed into your journey, and you whatever the project you're getting is, you are trying to do in a very creative manner. So that's the one thing which
But do you think sometimes emotions take over when you start? When you started your firm, I'm sure you would not have clear thoughts of what has to be done. So sometimes emotions take over. Did you ever think that this is not working out? I need to think of something else.
I mean, when we started off, we always had this vision of doing good work. So that's the one thing which we had, and a kind of a very creative work. And a lot of times, even now, you get this feel of that something is not working out, even in projects. So you go back to your thinking. You think differently. You try to solve that problem. That certain times which are you find that this thing is not working out well, or maybe even in design that you're not satisfied till you say that yeah, this is something which you wanted to achieve. I mean, it could not be 100% or whatever, but whatever in best way you can able to achieve, in a way that it feels that yeah, it feels good and it's going to look nice. So
Right.
that's very important. That's you still get this kind of a feeling in between even now.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. Thank you so much for being a part of Unfiltered Dialogue, Sumeet. It has been great talking to you. We'll see you in another episode. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.